Hello students, before we start our chapter, I would like to request you all to watch our introductory 2 videos given by me so that you will be clear about the 3-step strategy to do Dhamaka in physics exams. We have given the videos in the description box, or you can just click on our videos displayed at the end of this video for either introductory 2 videos or the next videos. Okay then, let's enjoy physics by Mr. Patel, who has a long, profound experience of 29 years of teaching physics in Sainik School, Balachadi.
The Coulomb's law of electrostatic force between two charges. The first quantitative measurement of the electric force between two charges was measured by the Austin D. Charles, French scientist, in 1785, just 100 years before the Indian National Congress established or came in force. It states that, now let us see the study. He measured the force between two charges by using his balance called the torsion balance. Right? And he came to the conclusion that the force between 2 point charges is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of two charges and inversely proportional to the distance separating them. Let Q1 and Q2 with the two charges separated by distance r in the vacuum, where Q1 and Q2 are the point charges separated by distance r. Why point charges? Because distance between the charges is very large. So, diameter of the dimension of diameters of two charges can be neglected. For an example, suppose you want to measure the distance from the Ahmedabad to the Delhi, which is 1100 kilometers, and the train starts from Ahmedabad to Delhi can be represented by the point. In comparison, the length of the train in comparison with the 1100 kilometers is very negligible. So, we can take as a point. Or distance from the earth to the sun is 15 crore kilometers. In that respect, earth can be considered as a point object. Correct? If 2 point charges Q1 Q2 are separated by distance r in vacuum, the magnitude of the force F between them is given by the equation F is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon r square, where K is the constant. Its value in SI unit is K is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square Coulomb minus 2. You can get it from here. F is in Newton, R is in meter, Newton meter square, Q1 Q2 divide, that is upon Coulomb square. That is Newton meter square Coulomb minus 2. The constant in equation 1 is usually written as K is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0, where epsilon 0 is permittivity of free space. The Coulomb's law is written as F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R square. Epsilon 0 has got value 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12 Coulomb square Newton minus 1 meter minus 2 in SI system of unit. Now, later if Q1 in the equation 1, if Q1 and Q2 are is equal to Q is equal to 1 Coulomb, R is equal to 1 meter, then F will be equal to K. Let us define the 1 Coulomb charge from this. 1 Coulomb is the charge that, when placed at a distance of 1 meter from another charge of the same magnitude, that is 1 Coulomb in vacuum, experiences an electric force of the force of repulsion of magnitude 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. Correct? That is, if you can put it, if Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 1 Coulomb, R is equal to 1 meter, then F will be equal to K1 into 1 upon 1, that is K, that is K, and that is equal to 9 to 10 raised to 9 Newton. Now, if two charges are in a medium of permittivity epsilon, the dielectric constant K or the relative permittivity epsilon R is given by relative permittivity epsilon R is equal to permittivity in the medium upon permittivity of a free space. Epsilon R is equal to K and is equal to dielectric constant. Remember, this K is not the K constant which is used in the equation 1. In equation 1, K is the constant of proportionality, and here K is the dielectric constant, that is ratio of the permittivity of the medium upon permittivity of free space. Thus, the force between two charges in a medium having dielectric constant K is F is equal to, can be written as F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 K into Q1 Q2 upon R square. K is 81 for H water and for metal it is infinity. Now, Coulomb's law in a vector form. Let R1 and R2 be the position vectors of Q1 and Q2 respectively as shown in the figure. F12 is a force on 1 due to 2. F12, that is force on 1 due to charge number 2. Let me represent Q1 by 1 and Q2 by 2. Then F12, that is force on 1 due to the charge 2, that is force on Q1 charge due to the Q2 charge, the force on 1 due to 2. And force F21 is the force on similarly 2 due to 1. R21 is the vector leading from 1 to 2. R21, that is vector leading from 1 to 2 as shown in the figure. Similarly, R12 is a vector leading from 2 to 1, just opposite direction. Therefore, R12 is equal to R21 is equal to R2 minus R1 and R12 is equal to R1 minus R2, and that is equal to minus just opposite vector. R21 is in this direction and this is R12 is in the opposite direction. So, this is R21. From the figure you can say R1 plus R21 is equal to R2. So, what is R21? You can write this. See, from the equation you can say R1 plus R21 from the law of triangle of vector addition, and this is the resultant. If two vectors are represented by two sides of a triangle, third side taken in the opposite order gives a resultant of the vectors. So, R1 plus R21 is equal to, what is that? R2. Therefore, R21 is equal to R2 minus R1. Similarly, R12 is equal to R1 minus R2. R12, that vector leading from 2 to 1, that is this way. You can see R2 1. This is, and this is R12. R12. R12, that is this vector R2 plus R12 is equal to R1. From the figure, R2 plus R12 is equal to R1. Therefore, R12 is equal to R1 minus R2, correct? So, R12 is equal to R1 minus R2, and that is just opposite direction. So, it is equal to minus R21 also we can write. Thus, the R21 unit vector can be given by this equation R21 upon R21. and unit vector R12 is equal to R12 upon R12 magnitude. The Coulomb's law between 2 point charges Q1 and Q2 located at R1 and R2 can be expressed as F21 is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R21 into unit vector R21 for the direction, where R21 is the unit vector. Similarly, F12 is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 upon R12 unit vector R12. As R21 is equal to minus R12, we have F21 is equal to minus F12. Thus, Coulomb's law agrees with the Newton's third law, that is, forces are opposite. Equation 1 valid for any given charges, any sign of charges, that is Q1 and Q2. If Q1 and Q2 is greater than 0, that is, both are similar, either positive or negative. Negative will mix plus. Then force will be repulsive. Force will be, if these two are negative or positive, force will be repulsive. Correct? As shown in the figure. That if Q1 and Q2 is greater than 0, it is repulsive. If Q1 and Q2 is similarly less than 0, it is attractive. Opposite charges, one minus and another plus. If one positive charge and one negative charge, they will attract, and total product of Q1 and Q2 will be minus, that is less than 0. The force F12 on charge Q1 due to the charge Q2 is given by F12 is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R12 square unit vector R12, and that is equal to minus F21. The Coulomb law agrees with the Newton's third law. Consider the charges Q1, Q2, Q3 each equal to Q at the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side A. What is the force on charge Q with sign as Q, small q, placed at the centroid of a triangle as shown in the figure? The AD is equal to AC cos 30, that is equal to L under root 3 by 2. Each side is L. So, cos theta is equal to DC L or AC cos 30. Cos 30 is under root 3 by 2. AC is L. O is the centroid. So, AO is equal to 2 by 3rd AD. AO is equal to 2 3rd AD. So, AD is equal to L under root 3 by 2, that is L upon under root 3. So, what is AO? AO is, this distance is L upon under root 3. AO is equal to BO is equal to CO. All distances are the same. The force F1 on Q due to the charge Q at A, that is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 QQ upon distance AO, that is L upon under root 3 square. That is equal to 3 QQ upon 4 pi epsilon 0 L square along AO, that acts along this line. This is F1. Force F2 on Q due to the charge Q at B, that is also equal to the 3 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 QQ upon L square, and direction is along BO. Similarly, the force F3 on Q due to the charge Q placed at C, that is equal to also same 3 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 QQ upon L square along CO. The resultant of F2 and F3 is equal to either of the force, because angle between them is 120. So, let us see the resultant of f3 and f2 is f dash. So f dash is equal to, according to the law of parallelogram of vector addition, f2 square plus f3 square plus 2 f1 f2 f3 cos theta. Cos theta, the angle is 120. So cos 120 is equal to minus half, and f1 is equal to f2 is equal to f3, all are equal magnitude. So equation becomes f square plus 2f square minus multiplied by half, that is f square plus f square minus f square, that is equal to f square. 2f square minus f square, that is f square. Square root of f square is f. The same, that is two forces of equal side have a resultant same, then angle between them is 120 or 120, then the resultant of this will be the either of the forces, and it will act along the OA. The resultant of F2 and F3 will act along OA. So this is F dash. Thus the net force at Q will be 0. F dash plus F, both are in opposite direction, have got the same magnitude. Now next example, consider charges Q, Q and minus Q placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle as shown in the figure. What is the force on each charge? The force acting on the charge Q at A due to other two charges, due to the charge Q at B and minus Q at C. Due to the charge Q at B, the force will be F12 as shown in the figure along the direction BA. What is the direction? BA. So F12 is along the BA. Similarly, F13 due to the charge minus Q at C on charge Q at A. That is, this is minus, so it is attractive force, not like this repulsive. This is F13 is along the AC. F13 along the AC. The force of attraction or repulsion by the law of parallelogram, the total force F1 is equal to F12 plus F13, that is equal to F. The angle between these two forces, as we have seen before, is 120. This equilateral triangle. The angle between the F12 and F13 forces is 120. So resultant F1 will be equal to the either of the force. Thus, by the law of parallelogram, the total force F1 is equal to F12 plus F13 is equal to F R1, where R1 is the unit vector along the direction BC. This is the same direction as BC. The force of attraction or repulsion on each pair of charges has the same magnitude, and say F. Therefore, F is equal to Q square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 L square. The total charge, total force F2, total force F2 on charge Q at B is the F2 is equal to FR2, same way as we have seen before, where R2 is the unit vector along AC. R2 is the unit vector along this is, that is AC. This is the same direction. Similarly, total force on charge minus Q at C, F3 is equal to under root 3F, because here angle is not 120, angle is 60. This angle is 60. So resultant could be found out by using the law of parallelogram of vector addition. That is F31 square. F3 is equal to under root F31 square plus F32 square plus 2 F31 F32 cos 60. It will be equal to under root 3 F and N, where N is the unit vector along the direction bisecting angle BC. Now resultant of F1 and F2 as shown in the figure is equal to the F, say F3 dash has got the same value, that is under root 3F, but both are in opposite directions, so net force is 0. The force of vector. Now resultant of F1 and F2. F1 is along this direction and F2 is along this direction. Angle between them is 60. These two angles are same, correct? And the F3 dash has also magnitude same, q square upon 4 pi epsilon naught L square. This is also the same. So both the forces they cancel. Thus what is the conclusion? The total net force on all three charges at A, B and C. The net force at A is F1, net force at B is F2 and net force at C is F3. The total of this F1 plus F2 plus F3 is equal to 0. The resultant force of F1 and F2 is equal to under root 3F. This is also under root 3F. F3 dot is equal to under root 3F. You can calculate this F3 is equal to F3 dash is equal to under root 3F by the law of parallelogram of vector addition. Also, unit vector A is equal to unit vector n minus, as both are in the opposite direction. Therefore, F1 plus F2 plus F3, the sum of all forces on the charges, all three charges at A, B and C, that is F1 plus F2 plus F3 is equal to under root 3F. This is the resultant of F1 and F2. And F3 is the resultant of these two forces. That is also under root 3F. That is equal to under root 3F bracket A unit vector A plus unit vector n. But unit vector A is equal to unit vector n minus, that is 0. Now Newton's Coulomb's law of electrostatic force between two charges and the Newton's law, gravitational law of force between two masses, they are dependent of, they vary inversely to the square of the distance separating them. So there is a similarity between them. Let us see the ratio of the strength of the two forces, electric force and electrostatic force by using Coulomb's law and the gravitational force by using the Newton's law between two particles, and compare the ratio to know the strength of this forces. The electric force between electron and the proton at a distance say r can be given by the Coulomb's law of force, that is Fe. F is the force and E for the electrostatic force. The electric force Fe between the electrons and the proton is equal to the K Q1 Q2 upon R square. Q1 is E, electronic charge of an electron, and Q2 is charge of a proton. Both are same of magnitude. Signs are only, difference is only in the sign. They have same charge, magnitude is also same, 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Proton has plus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 9 coulomb charge. So force is given by the 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 E square upon R square. Let us see the gravitational force between two particles. Consider 2 point charges, electron and proton. Electron has charge 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb minus. Proton has charge also same, this is proton charge, that is also electronic charge
that is equal to plus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Let the distance between them, this is also E charge, this is also E charge, R. The force is attractive, this is positive E, this is minus E, and it acts along the line joining center of two charges along this line. The magnitude of the charge of electron is minus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, and charge of proton is equal to, that is plus, magnitude is the same. Separation between them is R. So force, electrostatic force between these two can be given by the Coulomb's law. Charles Austin D. Coulomb, he gave this law, correct, in 1785, a French scientist, by equation 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 E square upon R square. Similarly, gravitational force between electron and proton is equal to, can be given by the Newton's law of gravity. This is always attractive. This may be repulsive or attractive. Coulomb's force may be attractive or repulsive. Suppose they are similar charges, proton, the force, electric force between proton and proton will be repulsive. Electric force between electron and electron also will be negative. So minus Q and minus Q, that is electron and electron, that will be a repulsive force. Similarly, plus E and plus E, that is proton and proton, that is also repulsive. But if it is an electron and proton, that is plus E, that is attractive. This is repulsive between like charges. This is also repulsive between like charges. Correct. But this is always, gravitational force is always attractive. So gravitational force between proton and electron is given by the G mp, mass of proton into mass of electron, upon R square. Correct? We know this data. The mass of electronic charge is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg, is very less, and mass of proton is 1.67 into 10 raised to power 27 minus 27 kg. If we put this value, we can calculate the Fg and Fb. So let us take the ratio to see or to know the strength of the force, which force is stronger, whether electrostatic force is stronger or gravitational force. Let us see, check and decide. Fv upon Fg is equal to, separation is the same, so R square will be cut. So E square upon 4 by epsilon 0 G mp me. This comes about, you put the value, introduce epsilon 0 has value 8.9875 into 10 raised to minus 12. That is, the unit is Newton minus 1, meter minus 2, and Coulomb 2. Just exactly opposite, reverse than that of the units of P. Now, this comes about 2.4 into 10 raised to power 39.
So you can say that electrostatic force is much larger, 2.4 into 10 to the power 39. Now let us take the ratio between the electric force and the gravitational force between two proton. Using the same equation, Fe upon Fg is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0. Only difference is there, instead of the mass of electron, we have to take the mass of proton, that is proton, force between two
proton and proton.
Let us see the electrostatic force and the gravitational force between proton and proton.
Coulomb. This force we know as it is a repulsive force. Correct? So separation is R by epsilon naught The electrostatic force between proton and proton is given by the 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into E square upon R square. Similarly, gravitational force between proton and proton at the same distance, separation is the same, that is given by F say G, that is equal to G mp upon R square, where G is the universal gravitational constant. Correct? G is the universal. Why it is called universal? Because its value remains the same throughout the universe. Its value is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square kg minus 2. It was measured by Cavendish measured the value by his torsional balance, as Newton also measured the value of K by his torsional balance. Now mass of proton is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 27 kg. Let us take the ratio Fe upon Fg is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught E square upon R square upon G mp upon R square. This cut, and that is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught E square upon G mp. If you calculate, this comes about 1.3 into 10 to the power 1.3 into, you can check it, 10 to the power 36. Now you can compare, this is power 39 and this is power 36. Why? Because proton mass is more. Proton mass is more, so this ratio is less. Let us see now the electric force between the electron and proton and the acceleration. The electric force between the electron and proton is given by the equation 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught E square upon R square. Correct? At a distance separating them by 1 Austin unit, that is R is equal to 10 to the power minus 10 meters. There is nuclear size. Correct? That is this is the case of an hydrogen atom, we can see. Hydrogen atom has one proton in the nucleus and one electron moving. What is the acceleration of electron by revolving this? So, what is the distance? R is equal to 10 to the power minus 10. We calculate this, that comes about 2.3 into 10 raised to minus 9 Newton. The acceleration according to second law of motion given by the Newton's second law of motion is a force upon mass, F upon m, mass of electron. So, A represents the acceleration of electron is equal to force is common, whatever force is exerted by proton on the electron is the same force exerted by electron on the proton, they are mutual forces, correct. This electron exerts this way and proton exerts this way. The distance r is equal to 1 Austin unit, 1 Austin unit, that is equal to 10 raised to power minus 10 meter. So, acceleration of electron due to the mutual force between proton and electron in hydrogen nucleus atom is 2.5 into 10 raised to power 22. See how large it is compared with the gravitational acceleration due to gravity. What is that? 9.81. Approximately we can say 10 meters. And how many meters? This is 10 to the power 22, equal to the number of stars in the whole universe. There are 10 raised to 11 galaxies in the universe, and in each galaxy contains about 10 raised to the power 11 stars, each of sun size. That is if you take the mass of the sun, as it is 2 into 10 raised to the power 30 kg. And mass of the galaxy is 3 into to the power 41. If we take the ratio of mass of the galaxy to the mass of the sun, that comes about 1.5 to the 10 raised to power 11. That is, we can estimate that how many stars of the size suns are there in each galaxy. And number of galaxies in the universe is 11, 10 to the power 11, number of galaxies. Each galaxy consists of 10 to the power 11 stars of sun size. So, that is the power of the acceleration of an electron. What is the acceleration? How speedily it moves. Similarly, acceleration of the proton is equal to force upon mass of proton, and that comes about, then you take the force is the same divided by the mass of proton, that comes about 1.4 into 10 to power 19 meter per second square. This ratio is about, if we take the ratio of the acceleration of the proton to the acceleration of electron to the acceleration of proton, that comes out roughly 2000. Why? Acceleration of electron is 2000 times more about, because proton is about 1836 times heavier than the electron. So, electron is lighter and force is the same. So, same force acts on two particles lighter and heavier, then acceleration produced will be more in the lighter, because acceleration is according to second law of motion, Newton's second law of motion, acceleration is inversely proportional to mass, and acceleration is directly proportional to force. Therefore, acceleration is equal to F by m into some constant k. Therefore, F is equal to ma kma, that is F is equal to kma. If we set k is equal to 1, then F is equal to ma. Already you have studied. So, acceleration is inversely proportional to mass if force is the same, if F is constant. That is, if we apply the same force to the cricket ball and the scooter, acceleration produced will be
more in the lighter body, that is ball, than that of in the case of a scooter. Similarly, acceleration produced in the electron naturally will be more than that of in the case of action produced in a proton. The proton is almost stationary in the atom. What moves? Electron. An atom, electron